Good morning, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Diljit Brar, and I'm your MLA for Burroughs. Welcome to my constituency, Burroughs the Beautiful. Before we begin, I would like to honor the sacredness and importance of this land and of the ancestors that once walked where we are standing today. The Anishinaabe, the Ininuak, the Dene, the Dakota, the Inuit, and Anishinaabe nations, and the Red River Métis Nation, who paved the way to what is now known as Manitoba, home to all treaty people. The reason we share this information with you is that it's a reminder of our treaty histories and the original homelands of all those nations which have become home to all of us here today. Today's announcement is an important one as it highlights our shared commitment to create good Manitoba jobs for Manitobans as we build our province. To share more about this, please welcome the Premier of Manitoba, the Honorable Wab Kinew.
Well, thank you, Diljit, for the welcome to the Burroughs area here, and thanks to UA and the Building Trades for hosting us. This is a beautiful facility. This is amazing, and it really shows off the benefits of working with tradespeople. On budget, on time, do it once, do it right. That's what you get when you hire somebody from the trades. And so we, as the Manitoba government, are announcing that we're going to hire the building trades here in Manitoba to build 4 new schools. We're signing a Manitoba Jobs Agreement with the Building Trades Council to build new schools in Manitoba. Yeah, it's really simple. For years and years and years, I guess, different parts of the country, people have been trying to save money or cut down on health and safety standards by not using unionized labor. And then you end up having to hire somebody from one of the building trades unions to come in and fix the job after the project was built poorly. In this province alone, by the way, I'm just going to let you know I'm about to get political here. You know when you get to that part of the speech and Donald Trump starts picking on Joe Biden? Yeah, you're about to see that, the Manitoba version, okay? The PCs, the worst at the economy, absolutely the worst. We built the South End Water Pollution Control Center here in Manitoba under the PCs, and while they were building that, there was 100 unemployed electricians in Manitoba. That is no way to build an economy. We're changing the page, turning the page. Let's put people to work. How are we going to grow the economy? How are we going to push back against what Donald Trump is trying to do? By hiring people from Manitoba to build Manitoba.
That's right.
And there's so many great things that we want to do, right? New emergency room at the Victoria Hospital. These 4 new schools that we're talking about today. The tech industry, data centers, Manitoba Hydro. I don't care what industry you work in, whether it's a high-tech field, whether it's residential, whether it's healthcare. The reality is this, no matter what sector you work in, your projects, your buildings get built by people who go to work with hard hats, steel toes, and high-vis gear on. And so what we're saying with these deals that we're announcing here today is that we're going to make sure that those folks who show up in person day after day with the hard hats, with the steel toes, with the high-vis, they're going to get a good wage, they're going to get a good pension, they're going to get a good benefit package, and they're going to have the health and safety guarantees so that they can come home safe at the end of a hard day's work. We're in a training center too, so let's talk about that. When we have a Manitoba Jobs Agreement in place, this is also going to make sure that there's a ton of workforce development opportunities. What does that mean? Workforce development opportunities is what all the fancy people here in the suits use to talk about training programs. Let's make sure that people get the pre-employment, they get the apprenticeship, and then most importantly, at the end of the journey, they get the red seal. And that they can have a career, not just a job, not just a paycheck, but a career. And one of the things that I've seen over the course of my own life included, but many other people that I know, having a job is about more than just the paycheck. It's also about the dignity, it's about the self-respect, it's about the structure that can put food on the table for you and your families, and that can allow you to hold your head up high in the community. And that's what we want for every single person in Manitoba. So the training is going to help big time, big time. So I want to shout out the building trades and the Fed and all of the unions who are here, because they've been fighting the good fight to make sure that there is going to be training, that there is going to be a pathway to the middle class, that someday when you put your time in here, whether it's on the shop floor or on the job site, in the future, you're going to be able to have that boat. You're going to be able to have that cottage. You're going to be able to have that truck. You're going to be able to pay for your kids' hockey and soccer and all the other things you want to do in life. That is what this is about. This is about our values as Manitobans and making sure that everybody in Manitoba can share in the value of the work. Real simple idea. When you as a taxpayer go to build something, who do you want to put to work with that? When you as a taxpayer spend money and invest in a new school or a new hospital, do you want that money going to Donald Trump's America? Do you want that money going out of province or out of country? Or do you prefer to do what we do and what we're announcing here today, which is to put people to work who are here in Manitoba? Yeah. And it just seems like such a no-brainer. Like, why did we get away from this in Manitoba? Right? Well, it's because of PCs who told you that, like, if you drove further to an emergency room, you'd be seen quicker, had the same approach to the economy, which is somehow Manitobans are going to be better off if you hire fewer Manitobans. Doesn't make any sense at all. So we're focused on local, we're focused on people here who've got the skills, we're focused on doing the job right, doing the job once, and the best way to do that is to work with the building trades. And apparently it's going to be a really clean job site too. Like, do you see this trailer and how the tools, so it's way cleaner than my shed in my backyard. I gotta give it to you guys. This is amazing. Also, it's all Milwaukee tools, right? Mine looks like a rainbow, the different tool, right? Like, yeah, red and yellow. Also, I gotta admit, there's some neon green. And yeah, sorry guys, sorry. I'm cheap, you know. Like, I gotta be honest, I'm cheap too. But the bottom line is this: look around you. Like, this to me is the future of Manitoba. It's about good jobs, it's about education, it's about recognizing that we got the know-how to do things here in this province at the highest level of quality. So let's work together. Let's stand up for Canada, let's stand up for Manitoba, and let's build Manitoba together.
Thank you, Premier, for your continuous support for the people of Manitoba. I'd now like to welcome Tanya Palson, Executive Director of Manitoba Building Trades, to share a few words.
All right, good morning, everyone. Today is truly a historic day for Manitoba, a historic day for the building trades as well. Together with Premier Kinew and the Government of Manitoba, we're beginning a framework that's going to change how we build major projects in this province by signing the very first Manitoba Jobs Agreement. So we're beginning with 4 new schools that will serve families and communities across the province, and we couldn't be more excited. Manitoba Building Trades, for those of you who haven't heard of us, shame, but no, represent over 8,000 unionized construction professionals across our 12 construction craft unions. So from electricians to iron workers, bricklayers to crane operators, laborers to pipe fitters, and everything in between, our members are the skilled backbone of Manitoba's construction industry, and we build the infrastructure that we all rely on every day, and we train the next generation to carry that work forward. This Manitoba Jobs Agreement is about making sure those skills are put to work here at home. It ensures that when we spend public dollars, those dollars create public good. That means projects are delivered to the highest standards by a safe, skilled, and fairly paid workforce, and it means the benefits of those investments stay right here in Manitoba. Public investments should deliver more than bricks and mortar. It should deliver careers, stability for families, and stronger communities, and that's exactly what this agreement and this framework intends to do. This landmark partnership between Manitoba Building Trades and Premier Kinew's government has developed on the strong foundation of shared values: pride of work, pride of province, and a commitment to building better every day. So we're excited to announce that on this Manitoba Jobs Agreement, 10% of all project work hours will be apprenticeship hours worked by local apprentices at a minimum. That's thousands of hours of hands-on learning. That's thousands of hours of hands-on learning for young Manitobans, creating pathways into good-paying, stable careers in the trades. And further, we're committing to a target of 20% of all project work hours coming from equity-deserving groups. Yeah. We're opening doors for Indigenous Manitobans, women, and newcomers to continue and expand their work in our industry. Beyond these targets as well, I want to say that this framework will ensure Manitobans go to work first on major Manitoba public projects and receive the prevailing industry wages, health and retirement benefits that are the high union watermark standard for our industry. That is what Manitoba Jobs Agreements are designed to do: align government investment with workforce stability, apprenticeship pathways, and inclusive growth. It's a framework that not only builds infrastructure, it ensures that public investment creates public value. Taxpayer dollars stay in Manitoba, supporting Manitoba workers, Manitoba families, and Manitoba businesses. And this is the work that Building Trades does best. We don't just build projects, we build people. We run world-class training programs and facilities just like the one we're all standing in today. We uphold the highest safety standards in the industry, and we make sure that when Manitobans put in a hard day's work on the job site, they go home with good wages, good benefits, and the security their families deserve. The schools agreement we're announcing today is just the beginning. With the Manitoba Jobs Agreement in place, we have a framework to deliver upcoming major projects with the same confidence. Whether this is hydro, hospitals, transportation, and the infrastructure that anchors our economy, these will be built by Manitobans, built to the highest standard, and built in a way that strengthens our workforce and our communities. So on behalf of Manitoba's unionized construction workforce, I want to thank the Premier, I want to thank the ministers and the Government of Manitoba for their leadership and partnership. Today, we are proving that when we put Manitobans to work, we build more than projects, we build stronger families, stronger communities, and a stronger province. Thank you.
Thank you, Tanya, for those remarks. Next, I would like to invite Brother Kevin Rebeck, President of the Manitoba Federation of Labour, to speak.
Thank you. I want to start off by saying on behalf of the 130,000 unionized workers who are members of the Manitoba Federation of Labour affiliated unions, thank you to the Manitoba Building Trade Unions and the Manitoba Building Trades Council for sticking up for hardworking Manitobans in skilled trades and your dedication in getting this first of what we know will be many Manitoba jobs agreements done. Congratulations. The provincial government's 2025 budget committed to prioritizing local workers on publicly funded projects as part of the province's renewed building plan in the face of Trump's tariffs. Thank you to Premier Kinew and the entire NDP government for following through on that commitment and prioritizing Manitoba's skilled trades workers and good union jobs at a time when we need to do everything we can to shore up and strengthen our local economy in the face of the impacts of those tariffs. I know Premier Kinew is focused on Trump-proofing our economy, and today's announcement is another positive step in that direction. This is a proud day for Manitoba workers because this agreement to build 4 new schools is an investment in the Manitobans who learned a skilled trade to provide for their families and build rewarding, well-paying work here at home in Manitoba. It's an investment in the highest standard of construction and safety, and it's truly an investment in the future well-being of our province with the training opportunities it'll provide young people, including young people who are unrepresented in the skilled trades, like women and Indigenous workers. Unfortunately, the previous provincial government didn't value skilled workers and attacked them and good union jobs every chance they could, forcing people on the out-of-work list and causing them to seek work in other provinces to support their families. And during that time, we saw out-of-province license plates flourish on construction sites across our province. Well, it's time to end the scourge of out-of-province license plates and put Manitoba workers first when it comes to building up our province. These types of agreements have a long history of getting the job done in Manitoba. From PC Premier Duff Roblin's floodway to Manitoba Hydro's projects to the Conservative Harper government and Gary Dewar's NDP government partnering to expand the floodway, which was done on time and under budget, I might add. Having a worker-friendly government in our province makes a world of difference. And having the Manitoba Building Trades unions in their corner makes a world of difference for the skilled trades workers who get up early and put in long hours to build the kind of projects and provinces Manitobans deserve. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Kevin. That concludes our formal program for today. I want to thank all of our speakers and all of you for being here to mark this important announcement. The floor is now open for media questions.
Yeah, for sure. So a couple quick details off the top. We're talking about 4 schools here, which were part of the budget announcement. So in all, you're looking at a little north of $200 million worth of construction projects that are going out the door here. It's 3 in Winnipeg and 1 in Brandon. So it's a Southwest school in Brandon, and then in Winnipeg, it's Devonshire Park, which I call the school behind the Regent Costco. Just to give people the frame of reference. And then you got Prairie Point and Meadowlands, so again, Southwest Winnipeg schools, and then the Brandon one as well too. In terms of your question here, this is about making sure that there's a framework in place so people get decent pay, pensions, benefits, health and safety rules on the work site. And in terms of it being open to people, like, yeah, this thing's going to be open for everyone to come work on these school projects. But the first priority is going to go to Manitoba union members, and then Manitobans, and then Canadian union members and other Canadians. Yeah, well, this year's budget has $3.7 billion worth of infrastructure in it. So if you're in southwestern Manitoba and you've seen the work on Highway 2, If you're here in the city and you see projects like the ones we're announcing today going up, if you're looking at the healthcare facilities that are being built, right across Manitoba, it adds up to $3.7 billion, which if you translate that into jobs, 3,700 jobs. So that's in year 2. And going forward to year 4 in government, God willing, all things working out well, we're on that trajectory to create a whole bunch of good jobs for people right across Manitoba. So on healthcare, we've added 3,000 new healthcare workers to the front lines, and that's net. So even when you account for retirements, people who had to leave for whatever personal reasons, we've added 3,000 people. Of that, it's about 1,000 nurses. So we've added 1,000 nurses in the last 2 years since we've taken office. Way more work to do, don't get me wrong, but 1,000 new nurses and 3,000 more on the front lines of health. It's a good start. So we're going to keep working on that when we talk about ECEs, people who work in the childcare facilities, people who are doing really, really important work. Again, everyone here who's got a parent is going to need, or everyone here who is a parent is going to need childcare. And so those early childhood educators are really important. We are really, really proud under Minister Schmidt's leadership to bring in that new wage format for the early childhood educators. And I saw a study, I think it was yesterday maybe, 8 out of 10 ECEs saying job satisfaction is going up and they're happy with the working conditions. So yeah, Rome wasn't built in a day, but we're starting, and we're starting with the people who power the economy, which is people in the trades, people who go to work in childcare facilities, people who go to work on the front lines. These are some of the absolutely bedrock professions for us as Manitoba to grow our economy going into the future. Economic backlash was started by President Trump. Everything was going fine, and then he decided to make life more expensive for Americans by charging tariffs. So we've been forced to react as a provincial government and say, how are we going to Trump-proof the economy here? And so we got $3.7 billion worth of infrastructure going out the door, because we know that one of the ways you protect from recession, right? You've seen some concerning signs from the national Canadian GDP numbers. Maybe a recession is coming. So how do we protect from that storm if winter is coming? Well, it's by building infrastructure. And again, everybody, doesn't matter which political strike, agrees on this. Stephen Harper, conservative as they get, during the global financial crisis 2008, 2009, they built infrastructure. Because again, folks here have no choice but to show up for work in person, which means if you pay these folks a good salary, they're going to gas up. They're going to go spend money at a restaurant on the lunch break. Is it McDonald's and Tim's? I don't know. Hopefully it could be some healthy stuff too. I saw a head shake, yeah. Packing a lunch maybe. But the point is, when you invest in infrastructure, you create economic activity for the building trades, but then you also create all the spin-off benefits that go out, support the other businesses, support the landlords, support the realtors, support, the retailers, and on and on and on and on. So how do we button up the hatches against the Trump tariff threat? It's by investing in our people right here at home. That's what we're doing with these Manitoba jobs agreements. Well, the treaties are about sharing, and everyone should be able to hunt moose according to the rules that we have in place here. And so our Minister Ian Bushy has been working closely with this community. And what I would point out about this, I guess they're using the term buffer zone, but what I would point out about this is you're not supposed to hunt near the road anyways. I'm guessing some people here hunt. Are you allowed to shoot out of the cab of your vehicle? No. Are you allowed to hunt near the road? No, you're not, right? So again, what the minister's been working on with this community is basically, again, they're calling it a buffer zone, but it pretty much, it's already the practice of people who hunt safely that you don't hunt near roads. So again, we want everybody to make the most of this province. You know, speaking of myself, I'm a gun owner. I'm teaching my kids how to hunt safely, but I want everyone in this province to be able to learn to live off the land, to have a safe, clean, healthy environment. And it just so happens that our minister's working with this community to make sure that we can live up to that for everybody.
Do we have enough skilled trade workers to start these projects? And if not, is there a plan to do it?
Well, you guys tell me. Yeah. I think we definitely have the workers to get started, and let's have ambition too. Let's have ambition that says we're going to build this big project north to Churchill, that we're going to build big things with hydro, we're going to build big things for the economy, and hopefully we're challenging the trade schools and the unions to train a whole heck of a lot more people. That should be our goal as Manitoba. It's not just like, oh no, what about this, what about that, you know, like, let's be proud as a province. Let's say we deserve to be brave, we deserve to be bold, we deserve to have nice things, and when we build those nice things, we're going to hire people right here at home to build them. I never hear Alberta or BC talking about, oh, do we have enough tradespeople, we better not do it, right? The expectation is no, we're going to build, we're going to grow, we're going to have an economy that's strong, and then we're going to turn to our partners and say, let's figure this thing out together. That's the mentality we need in Manitoba. Us becoming a have province instead of a have not province, it starts with your mentality. Let's have the mentality that I already see around me, which is pride, motivation, getting out of bed early in the morning to go put in a hard day's work. But let's do that at the big picture too. And let's make sure that we build this province. And yeah, I mean, if the biggest challenge we have is training more tradespeople, bring it on. Sounds good to me.
Is that why there's this 10% of all work hours is going to be for apprentice hours? Is that part of that?
Do you want to talk about apprentice and the 10%? Yeah, why don't we get Tanya up here to talk about that? Yeah.
Yeah, on your question and echoing what the Premier said, the intent of doing this is that it actually allows and requires these major projects to be that workforce development body. I can tell you today, we're ready to show up. We have hundreds of union members who are currently on our out of work list that we'd love to send to these major projects. We have even more out of province building other provincial major projects, so we're going to bring them all home, build Manitoba here, and the 10% apprenticeship hours will make sure that we're not building projects without training the next group. So that is absolutely a key portion of it, and the reason why as we do more of these frameworks, it'll allow us to train more and more and more, and that's why we're not nervous, we're excited about being able to meet the opportunity, but we need that labor requirement on these projects to make sure that we can meet the opportunity. We say all the time, apprenticeship training is about 20% in the classroom, 80% on the job site. So we are happy to see the province commit to have that 80% on the job site hours baked into their public projects. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we got a news release going out, which hopefully has a bunch of the details on it. But the basic idea is this. There's a lot of people going to a hospital or an emergency room. They maybe just need a doctor or that primary care provider. We've seen good results with adding clinics in Brandon, at the Grace, HSC, Misericordia, Selkirk, and so on. And so now having a clinic at St. Boniface Hospital, open 365 days a year, it's going to be that other option for healthcare for you. So again, sometimes you go to the hospital and you absolutely need to see an emergency room doctor, but sometimes you might get there and then the nurse or whoever you're talking to says, you know what, you could probably just skip the waiting room and go to the clinic next door. So this is just about more healthcare, allowing more people in Manitoba to be seen more quickly.
And speaking about St. Boniface, when is the renovated and expanded St. Boniface emergency practitioner open? And will it be staffed with like additional doctors versus healthcare?
Yeah, I think for sure, we're going to open the facility with the staffing piece looked after. We want to ensure that everything goes well. And right now we're looking at early October in terms of the actual opening to the general public. Yeah.
In terms of Ottawa's announcement for money for new housing, what have you heard for Winnipeg? Like, when's Winnipeg supposed to get money and how much? Any details on that?
Well, I think the more housing we can get, the better. One of the positive economic signs we have here in Manitoba right now is we're kind of bucking the trend when it comes to real estate across the country. And I should maybe qualify that. It's good news if you're looking at the economic statistics, but if you're out there trying to buy a house right now, maybe it's not the best news, right? Because, the people that I'm talking to are house hunting. They're saying houses are going way above asking right now. So now, even though the rest of the country, they're seeing a real estate slowdown, Manitoba is seeing a boom. And so the more that we can do on housing, the more it's going to help, because we want housing to be affordable. One of the great things about Manitoba, one of the advantages we have against a BC or a Toronto or an Alberta, is that young people can actually afford to buy their own home here, which is not true. BC, my wife's a doctor, her friends who are doctors in BC, they're like, we will never own our own home. Doctors. These are wealthy people compared to the average Canadian out there, and that's how expensive housing is there. So we can't let that happen here in Manitoba. And anything that the Prime Minister and federal government want to do to help keep housing costs down and help make sure it's affordable, we're happy to play a role and work together with them. And if it creates more work opportunities for people here in the province, all the better. You want to get in on a question before we go to Zoom? Yeah, go ahead. I think let me double check on the answer to that. We did announce the 2 Brandon schools, and so I know that. OK, je devrais répondre en français. OK, alors nous avons vu l'école pour DSFM qui a ouvert cet automne, et puis nous ajouterons une autre école à Brandon pour le DSFM, et puis ça va être une partie de ces enquêtes ou ces arrangements avec the Manitoba Jobs Agreement. Wait. Now we'll go to Zoom.
Thank you, Premier. We have 2 outlets on the Zoom today. We have Alex Lambert from the Brendan Stun. Go ahead. 1 question, 1 follow-up.
Well, I was about to ask the same thing that the French media just asked, but I'll ask it again. The province announced 2 schools for Brandon in its budget, including Brandon School Division and DSFM. Are those schools still on time for 2027 and 28?
So the school that's, I think this is the Brandon School Division one, but I'll get our press secretary to follow up with you directly, Alex, just to make sure that we're confirming that. The start date for construction for the Winnipeg schools is 25-26, and then the Brandon school is 26-27. So we're still on schedule in terms of those 10 schools we announced in the budget this year.
Any follow-up, Alex?
No, I'm good.
Okay, thank you. And we'll move on to Steve Lambert with Canadian Press. Steve, 1 question, 1 follow-up.
Oh, hi, Premier. Moody's recently issued a bit of a warning about the provincial deficit, given the ongoing impact of the trade war with the U.S. Are you still committed to balancing the budget? And if so, what concretely is the province doing on the spending side, if anything, to sort of meet that goal and to keep the deficit from growing in the way that Moody's has said it might next year?
Well, I think the big headline out of the Moody's report is that they affirmed our credit rating. They said we're doing a good job as an NDP government of managing Manitoba's finances, which is a welcome change from the disaster that hit the books when Heather Stephenson was in office. So we had a huge cleanup job to do when we first got in, and we're doing it the same way that the average family has to handle their finances during these periods of economic uncertainty, which again, Donald Trump has brought on. So for us, we gotta for sure do the belt tightening and looking at every expenditure and making sure that it's smart, but we have to be balanced too. which means that we also have to look at the revenue side, and that's what we're talking about here. Let's stimulate the economy. Let's make sure that we're putting people to work. And as people are working in the economy, for sure, the benefit will be there for the public finances, but most importantly, we'll see the benefit for the average working person out there in Manitoba.
Okay, and a slightly different topic. The provincial Freedom of Information law is a bit more restrictive than some other provinces. Places like British Columbia and Nova Scotia allow for the release of some cabinet documents, background information, analyses, studies, while preserving the secrecy of cabinet deliberations and recommendations. Just wondering if your government is open to looking at broadening the Freedom of Information law to allow for the release of background documents and studies and analyses presented to cabinet.
So you might be wondering, like, what, when you heard that? Or maybe you're just thinking about something else. He's asking the question because Heather Stephenson and the PCs, including their new leader was sitting around the cabinet table at the time. They said no to searching the landfill. And what was really ugly is that they tried to turn it into an election issue, and they put up billboards. Like, you're putting up billboards about the victims of a serial killer? Like, give your head a shake. Like, no election is worth winning that bad to, you know, own yourself in public that way. So the documents in question are the advice that they claim to have been operating under, and then they didn't want to share it with the public, even though you paid for those documents to be created. So again, when I say there's too much corruption in the PC party of Manitoba, this is what I'm talking about. It's stuff like this. Heather Stephenson was the first premier ever to be fined. So was her, or their former deputy premier. So was one of their MLAs, right? Like, everybody on the PC team right now, they're like the same political staff and cabinet ministers and the MLAs from before. It's just they changed job titles. And now they're trying to come out and say, like, oh, give us a second chance. I swear we'll be different. You know, we learned our lesson. Okay, like, maybe someday, but not now. And any questions about accountability on releasing public documents and stuff like that, go ask the PCs. What do they think? It's all the same people. So again, you know, for us, we searched the landfill. We brought those two women home, and we did it by saying, even if you don't agree with searching the landfill, hey, we don't got to agree on everything in order to do the big things together. And what are those big things? Fix healthcare, cut the gas tax, build Manitoba. That's what we're talking about here today. Build up our province. Let's focus on that instead of on the negative things. Une autre question? Another question? Yeah, I think the immigration conversation at the national level is having a big impact on us here in Manitoba. I'm looking over my shoulder at our immigration minister, who's probably going to, like, you know, push me out of the way and, you know, just, I guess, let you know about all the challenges that she's facing. But the reality is this, you know, our economy is going to need every person that we can get if we're successful at building up our vision. So for me, it's not about this question about, like, which one pathway into the workforce is the best one. For me, it's like, yep, like, let's build up the north, let's build up Winnipeg, let's build up the south, let's build up this whole province, and let's have that, you know, answer, like, to your question, just be like, yeah, we need every single person from the reserves. We need every single person from the city and suburbs. We need every single person for rural. We need every single person, you know, from, you know, the newcomer communities, because Manitoba's booming, you know? So yeah, we're going to be fighting the good fight in terms of the allocations that we get out of the federal government. But our real goal as a Manitoba provincial administration is 5 years from now, or however long it takes, we want us to be like, yeah, everyone's going to Manitoba because the boom times are there. Okay, thanks everyone. Have a great day.